The following paid commercial program is sponsored by National K-9 Academy. WNIS Radio and Sinclair Communications do not endorse or warranty any statements or claims that are made, or products or services that are offered by this sponsor.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
Welcome to National K-9 Academy Radio. I'm your host, Dan Stallings, and I'm joined in the studio by two lovely ladies, my co-host, Dallas Bolin. Hey, Dallas. And Sinclair Station's Janet Aguiar. How you doing, Janet?
I'm good. How are you?
Thank you for joining us again. I guess
thanks for having me.
You heard this is going to be a very important show. Mm-hmm. And, of course, the important man on the dial is Damien. How you doing, Damien?
Doing good. Real good.
Yeah, good. How's your dog doing?
Real well.
All
Real
right.
well. Went
Awesome.
out and did some hiking last week and some puppy play dates this week. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Nice. You're enjoying it, aren't you?
Absolutely. Every day.
That's what it's all about, and that's why we're here. We're going to share a lot of very good information with you today. As I said, we consider this to be the most important show we will be doing all year, and that's because this is the buy versus adopt show. We're going to talk about the aspects, both good and bad, of adopting and buying, where you should look to adopt, where you should look to buy, and maybe where you should not look. We have some great guests on today. I don't know if you remember Theresa Strader from National Mill Dog Rescue, but she'll be joining us in the next segment. And then we have our first guest from abroad, Xavier Santiago, an award-winning breeder and producer, is going to be joining us from the UK to talk about responsible breeders. And then, of course, petsadvisor.com, Krisitine Lacoste will talk about some of the articles that she's written covering the very things our show is going to cover. So we're going to jump right in. Again, this segment is about buying versus adopting. So if you've listened to our previous shows, you've kind of gone through some of the things of thinking about getting a dog, to asking yourself the right questions about what type of breed you should get, if you have the time and that sort of thing. And if you've decided you want a puppy versus an adult, which was our last show. And now we're going to talk about maybe where to find that dog, that special dog to add to your family. Where do you guys think some of the places you could buy a dog?
The internet.
Okay, right?
Yeah.
Oh, good or bad? Not just
Yeah, good
some
or
of the
bad.
places you could buy a dog.
Craigslist.
Right.
Yeah, Craigslist,
Yeah.
puppy stores.
Puppy store, the
pet
mall.
stores, right? You know what's interesting? Not one of you said a breeder.
I was thinking it.
Yeah, you're thinking. Okay, you
my
got
next
to
answer.
think into the mic.
Oh, sorry.
Because in my opinion, and this is my life, dogs. My opinion, the only place you should ever buy a dog is a responsible breeder. Now, obviously, there are certain circumstances where if you're getting a working dog, for example, like we train detection dogs at National K-9 Academy. But if you're looking to get a puppy, the only place you should ever buy a puppy is from a reputable breeder. And that's why we're having Xavier Santiago come on and Theresa Strader as well to talk about that. But you can find puppies all over the place. And how many times a week do we get calls for people looking for dogs at our shop? I don't know why, but people think we sell dogs.
A lot.
Yeah, several times a week I take calls, and I'm sure you do as well. And we always tell them, we don't sell dogs. We're a daycare training boarding facility. And we always go through that little spiel with them real quickly. If you're looking for a dog, I always ask them, what kind of dog are you looking for? Sometimes they have the breed already in mind, or sometimes they just want a small dog. And we tell them, these are the places you should go look for a dog. And these are the places you definitely don't want to. Don't call a shop and look to buy a dog. That's not where you're going to find the good dogs. You're not. And that can be proven very simply. And we will throughout the show as it goes on here. But, if you're looking to adopt, some of those places where you may not want to buy a dog are some of the places where you may look to adopt. You will find, I found Maverick on Craigslist. And I was looking to rescue him, though. I was, getting him from Mid-Atlantic Wine Rescue, not to try to get him for myself. But, there are places where you may find dogs on the internet. Petfinder.com is a great place to go. I direct a lot of people there because a lot of rescues like ours will put their dogs on there, and they have a lot of strict requirements. You can't, if you had a dog and you wanted to put on petfinder.com, they wouldn't let you. You have to be approved to get on there, which is something I like. You have to show them that you're a rescue, that you're not some commercial breeder or broker. People don't realize there are actually puppy brokers out there. That's like the biggest thing now is the puppy mills, pet stores, and puppy brokers. And those are some of the things that you want to watch out for because they're just interested in pushing dogs and trying to make money. They're not interested in the welfare of the dogs. But when you're looking to adopt, that's one of the outlets that we use is places like Pet Finder And then obviously, Facebook is a great media outlet for a lot of the rescues. You can look up all the different wine rescues we work with. DC Wine Rescue Atlanta, Club Wine Rescue of the South. They all have Facebook pages, as we do. And we also have our guys on our website, which is nationalk9academy.com. And you can check out some of our rescues there and also set up an appointment to come in. So obviously, going to visit them and seeing them just like you would with the shelters. If you're looking to adopt, go to the shelters, call them up. Some of them have some weird hours, like they close at 4 o'clock. So, make sure you can get in there when they're open. And but they also do screening. If you have a dog, they want you to bring your dog in. It's not just you show up and walk out of there that day with a dog in most circumstances. So they're being selective as well because we all want to place the dogs in good homes. We want to place them where we know they're going to stay. And that's the big thing. And we try very hard. For example, we follow the same protocol many of the rescues do. When we adopt, we do home visits. We require a physical fenced yard. We require letters of recommendation. People don't realize that. I want a letter of recommendation from people who know you, usually a vet, if you have a dog, or your previous dogs, and then your neighbor. I want your neighbors to know you're getting a dog. Because we've actually had some neighbors shoot people down and say, well, you didn't hear what happened to their last dog? And we're like, oh my gosh, no. Or we have people come in that didn't even have their dogs current on their vaccines, and they wanted to adopt. And we're like, no, that's not going to happen. So we do try our best to put them in good homes. And for the most part, we do a very good job with it. But so, if you're considering adopting versus buying, there are certain things you should do, certain things you should watch out for. And that's what this show is all about, is, looking for the right signs, the red flags, and things like that, and where you should go if you're getting a puppy versus an adult.
Would you consider that one of the red flags if you go to adopt a dog or go to buy a dog and they just they don't care about any background, they don't ask you any personal questions about you, your yard, your facility, any of that stuff? Or should you look for somebody that indulges, they ask you the questions?
I would definitely look for somebody that's asking you the questions. Most rescues are very involved. You put a lot of effort into it. To bring the dog in, a lot of times they're not in the best shape mentally or physically, and you put in that effort to train them, to rehabilitate them, to get them, where they're healthy mentally and physically, and you don't want to just put them out there and see what happens. For example, we won't adopt out to first-time dog owners.
Oh.
A Weimaraner is not a good first dog for a lot of people. Now, if you're considering one of the seniors, maybe, but Weimaraners are so active, so intelligent, and they need something to do and somebody to do it with, or they will get into trouble. And there are other breeds. Boxers are like that as well. If you live in an apartment, again, some of the things if you listen to our previous shows, you should consider before getting a dog. So those are some of the things that just because you show up and you want a dog doesn't mean you're getting one of our dogs. We want to make sure you're give them a good home, a permanent home, that you're making a commitment to them, and that sort of thing. And one of the questions we ask is, under what circumstances would you ever surrender this dog? And we want to know that. Now, obviously, if there's some aggression involved. But just because the dog barks, doesn't mean there's a reason to give them up. What are they barking at? Are you giving them enough exercise? Are they barking because somebody's outside and they're letting you know? So, there's certain things you definitely want to kind of go through with people to find out. And again, you want to find out about their history, having dogs in the past, their living situations, things like that. And I think most rescue shelters have the questionnaire you fill out, and they do, and they want to spend time with you and the dogs and kind of interview you as well. So that's what we're all about, is trying to find the dogs a good home and making sure whether it's a puppy or as an adult, whether you're buying or adopting, we're putting them in a good situation where we know they're going to stay. So we'll be back in just a few minutes with Theresa Strader from National Mill Dog Rescue, and you're listening to National K-9 Academy Radio on AM 790 WNIS.
United Funding Corp provides creative real estate solutions to home sellers facing common problems in today's real estate market. Are you faced with selling a home needing repairs, job loss, relocation, or divorce? An inherited home not ready for the market? One that's just not selling? Or are you an unhappy landlord? Maybe you have low or no equity, or you're behind on payments and considering a short sale or just giving up. Stop! Call for a free consultation. United Funding Corp can help you determine the best sales option or the best resource for your situation. Their creative real estate solutions team consists of full-time real estate investors, attorneys, and brokers. They are a cash buyer and can close in as little as 7 days. So visit UnitedFundingCorp.com or call Michael Brown at 438-3838, 3838. Discover the creative real estate solutions available today.
You've checked the marine forecast, topped off your fuel, and stowed your gear. But as a responsible boater, you know no matter how prepared you are, things can still go wrong out on the water. You've probably seen Cito's boats cruising by. It's hard to miss them since their U.S. Coast Guard licensed captains spend as much time, if not more time on the water than anyone else. Becoming a member of Cito gives you a direct connection to that captain. He's standing by 24/7 to help you with the equipment, experience, and know-how to get the job done. Your Cito membership provides a range of benefits from free towing, fuel drops, and jump starts to discounts at your favorite places to shop. But most importantly, the $169 you spend on a year's membership gives you the peace of mind of knowing that your Cito captain has your back. To learn more, call 496-1999. That's 496-1999. Or visit Cito.com.
National K-9 Academy Radio. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to take your dog for a walk without them pulling, jumping, barking at other dogs?
This segment is brought to you by National K-9 Academy, and we can help all breed obedience training and behavior modification, located at 5503 Virginia Beach Boulevard. Call us at 757-289-2700 or look us up on the web at www.nationalk9academy.com.
National K-9 Academy, where your dog can play, stay, and train like a champion. Joining us on the line now is Theresa Strader from National Mill Dog Rescue. How are you doing this morning, Theresa?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. Dallas is here with me, and Damien, our producer, is joining us. And I don't know if you caught much of the first segment, but we're talking about buying versus adopting a dog if you're adding a dog to your family. And I couldn't think of anyone that I know that has more experience with, backyard breeders, puppy mills, and things like that than you. And also you have a large input on the adoption side as well. So I thought you would be a great advocate to have on this particular show. And one of the things that I wanted to get out there to some of our listeners are some of the places where you will find, puppy mill dogs that pop up, the outlets that these people use to place their dogs, these puppies.
Mm-hmm. Well, basically, I always try to qualify this by saying, it's certainly not in my nature nor my desire to, harm businesses. But, the fact of the matter is that your little puppy pet stores in the malls and such, those puppies come from puppy mills. I mean, that is just where they come from. It's a well-known fact. They will tell you when you ask in those places that they only use USDA licensed breeders and the dogs have papers and all that, but unfortunately, that's just a misconception that adds any amount of value to it. Those are puppy mill dogs. So you'll also see ads in the newspaper, locally. A lot of times those come from backyard breeders. Maybe not the big commercial farms that we deal with, but still backyard breeders where dogs are really not properly cared for. A lot of people, I just like to say this too, the PetSmart and Petco, the big retail pet chains of pet supplies and food, when you see dogs in those stores, they only work with rescue groups. Those are not dogs that come from puppy mills.
Right, and they don't have dogs for sale. They just have rescue groups.
Right, they work with rescues
right.
To give them a place to show off their dogs and, obviously hopefully get some business out of that.
Right, and we've actually attended a Petco adoption event with some of our rescues. And, it's very nice that some of the big stores reach out like that, but they do not sell puppies or kittens or I think PetSmart doesn't sell any live animals other than like fish and rodents and birds and stuff.
Right.
They do have cats?
Yeah, they have cats.
Oh, okay.
But and the cats that you'll see that stay at PetSmart, that's actually a program where they allow local shelters and rescues to house cats there, which is very nice, obviously. So they have a place to showcase cats as well. But they are definitely not coming from, commercial breeding farms. So a lot of people ask that question. I always try to just keep that clear for people. It's more the little boutiques that you see in the mall, and they have nothing but puppies. That's and purebred puppies. That's where the puppy mill puppies are coming from.
Right. And now, do a lot of the backyard breeders and the puppy mills, do they advertise on the internet directly?
Yes, they will sell on the internet as well, which is very poorly regulated at this point. In order to sell a puppy to a pet store, the breeder has to have a USDA license. But the internet is still one of those very poorly regulated places. So you will definitely see a lot of underhanded marketing and stuff there. I go to places, I look at the website, and they show the puppies running in the grass or the labs, playing in the pond. And believe me, those are not the conditions those dogs are really living in.
Really?
But, it's easy to sway people's mind by showing them that. But the truth of the matter is, a responsible, reputable breeder loves their puppies, puts a lot of effort and energy into raising their puppies, and they do not want them to go to just, the first person that comes along with $500 or whatever the price is.
Right.
They want to know who you are. They want you to know who they are. So anywhere where they just make it easy, it's generally going to be disreputable.
Right. You're listening to National Canine Academy Radio. We have Theresa Strader on from National Mill Dog Rescue, and we're talking about buy versus adopt. Theresa, what are some of the red flags people should look for when they go to buy a dog from someone over the internet, or obviously, as you said, some of the stores, but I know puppy brokers are a big thing that's starting to pop up now on the internet. What are some of the things that people can look for that should cause concern?
Well, the most important thing you can do when you're going to lay down any amount of money to get a puppy in your family, a purebred puppy, in other words, if you're going anywhere besides a local shelter, you have the right, and you certainly should, be able to meet both parents of the puppy and see the environment the puppy was raised in. Anybody who doesn't want you to come to their property to see their puppies and their parents and their the environment they keep their dogs in is a major red flag. Major. Now, of course, some people say, well, this puppy's in Ohio and I live over here. I'm not going all the way there to. Well, then you can practically be rest assured it's not a reputable situation. I mean, you want to have a relationship with the puppy's breeder, and they want to have that with you as well. We travel all the time, many thousands of miles to rescue the dogs. My thought is, take that one trip and go and make sure you're not, you're not supporting something that's horrifying. Red flags all over the place. Anybody who breeds a whole bunch of different types of dogs, Maltese, Yorkies, Poodles, this and that, you can be rest assured that's a puppy mill. Most breeders that are doing it for the right reason and in a responsible fashion, they have a very particular love for, one or two breeds, and their whole purpose in breeding is to, bring that dog as close to the standard, the AKC standard, as they can, always improving the bloodlines, and this actually costs money. Most people breeding in a very reputable way are not making a dime. Right. They really aren't. So, but being able to meet the parents, being able to see the environment the puppy was raised in, extremely important. And quite frankly, even at that, you could be duped by these people. Here in this town, we know of some backyard breeders here around Colorado Springs. They rent a house all together in town, and that's where they show their puppies. So, you walk in and it's just the family and some kids running around, and there's some puppies in the living room, and it's nothing about it is easy. There are ways around everything.
So instead of renting a storefront, they rent a house.
Right, and then that gives people the impression that they're just, coming to this nice family, had these, this litter, and it gives them the impression that they're coming to their house to see the puppies, when in fact it's just a little, breeder's haven. Yeah, it's just a little bit different than selling them on the side of the street.
Right. We had Dr. Mark Abram from England come on last year, and he talked about a program he has. It's called Where's Mum? Yeah, he's from England, and the whole thing was you should see the mom and hopefully the dad interact with the puppies, which I think is a great thing, because as Dallas and I train and behaviorists, that's a huge part of their development.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times, something that we haven't touched on yet is with these puppy mills. A lot of times, these puppies are sent out way too early.
Yeah.
And that affects their socialization. It affects the bonds they'll have. It affects bite inhibition. So many parts of their behavior.
Yeah.
And one of the other things that I've been shocked that we've had quite a few clients come in our shop to ask us about training. House training has been a big issue with a lot of the ones that come from the pet stores, and I guess hence puppy mills.
Yeah.
But another part of it is that we talk to them, and a lot of these puppies they go home on medication.
Yeah, from the store, you mean?
Right. Yeah.
Yep, they're sick. Mm-hmm.
And if that's not a red flag, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's just insane. You'll hear people that buy a pet store puppy, and then the first 2 weeks they've spent $1,000 on vet bills. I mean, a well-cared-for, well-raised puppy from a healthy environment is not sick. Mm-hmm. They're healthy, you know.
And you know what's really is astounding to me is what they're paying for these dogs, these puppies in the store.
Oh yeah.
And they finance them. I'm just amazed.
On the credit card they go, and thousands of dollars. The interesting thing about that, just as an aside, but the brokers are the middlemen. They go out to the puppy mills, buy the puppies from the breeder, and then turn around and transport and sell them to the pet store. Mm-hmm. Just as an example, say for example this week, and the market price changes every few weeks, but for ease of math, say for example this week poodle puppies bring $100. That's the broker price to the breeder. So the breeder has 5 poodle puppies. The broker comes on Monday. And they may not even buy the whole litter, but anyway, let's say they do. Here's your $500 for your 5 poodle puppies. That broker turns around and sells those puppies for $400, $500, $600 to the pet store. So quadrupling what he just paid the breeder, and the pet store sells around and sells it for that much more again to the public. I mean, it's such an archaic business model. It's so stupid. The person who makes the least amount of money by far is the person who hopefully spent 8 weeks taking care of the baby, giving its vaccines, deworming it. There are some things they absolutely have to do, or they would all die. And they're the ones that make the least amount of money by far. It's crazy. That's why there's so much surplus and so much overproduction.
And I've talked to some of these clients when they come in and talk to them about their puppies, and I see some of the paperwork, and they'll just hand me the folder with all the shot records, and it has everything in there, and I see what they pay for them. Yep. And I'd never make anybody feel bad about their dog when they've already got them. Right. I just don't, we're going to make the best out of it, and we'll do our best training them, but I do try to educate them moving forward, and that's what our show is all about, and that's why I'm so glad you're on with us. But I look at what some of these guys are paying for these puppies in these stores and over these internet, and I'm just, I show Weimaraners, and I have a litter like every 2 years. I've had one litter, and one of my guys was in the top 10 in the country.
That's not an easy breed.
No, it's not. You're right.
I love them.
But I look at these and I'm like, we're not even charging half that for a show quality puppy.
As a responsible breeder, I know that's what's so crazy.
And it just drives me crazy.
People
They're paying
don't
so
realize,
much money.
But you know what it is? They don't want to wait. They don't want to wait. So, for example, you're a responsible breeder of Weimaraners. Here's this family that wants a Weimaraner. Right. They know you're the guy to go to. You show your dogs. They're healthy. They're properly, everything. They're properly cared for.
And you know what? I learned from other breeders. I was mentored by other breeders. So it gets passed on. When you deal with one responsible breeders, they mentor other breeders and pass it on. And that's how it works. So. Well, Theresa, I really appreciate you taking the time to join us again, and I would love to have you come back on another show. But your information and input here has been invaluable, and we're going to share this with as many people as possible when we post the show. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for all the work you do helping these puppy mill dogs.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Theresa Strader from National Mill Dog Rescue. We will be back in just a few minutes with Xavier Santiago, an award-winning breeder from the UK. You're listening to National K-9 Academy Radio on AM 790 WNIS.
Fox News Radio, I'm Karen McHugh. Maryland police still don't know the motive behind Saturday's mall killings, but they have identified the gunman who killed himself.
Darian Marcus Aguilar is the shooter. We've not been able to verify any type of relationship at this point between him and either of our victims.
Howard County Police Chief Bill McMahon. Aguilar also had explosive devices inside a backpack. The mall will remain closed today as the police investigation continues. The number of refugees fleeing the increasing violence in Iraq is alarming the UN and overwhelming those trying to help out.
UN refugee spokesman Adrian Edwards says this is the largest displacement Iraq has seen since sectarian violence between 2006 and 2008 during the American-led occupation. Edwards says host families are having difficulties caring for the displaced who are in desperate need of food, medical care, and other aid.
Fox Radio's Kate Alexander in Geneva. Fox News. We report, you decide.
Hi, I'm Mike Improvento with the law firm of Bright Drescher, Improvento & Walker. I'm a biker and a lawyer. You know, motorcycle riders are the biggest victims of distracted drivers. On a good day, they just don't see us. When you add a cell phone or texting to that mix, it's just unacceptably dangerous. If they don't see you and your ride goes bad, call me, Mike Improvento, at the law firm of Bright Drescher, Improvento & Walker. 622-6000. 622-6000.
National K-9 Academy uses all of its 26,000 square foot fenced grass play area, 2 saltwater pools, and professional trainers to ensure all dogs get plenty of exercise, socialization, and obedience training each day. Every dog is individually trained by a professional trainer. They're the only training facility in the region offering a lifetime money-back guarantee. Call 289-2700. National K-9 Academy, where dogs play, stay, and train like a champion. Visit nationalk9academy.com.
The greatest threat to America is the $17.3 trillion in federal debt and over $100 trillion in unfunded liabilities owed to Social Security, Medicare, pensions, and other entitlement programs. This is Steve Burton, president of Equity One, and I've been warning that the debt would lead to slow economic growth, market volatility, higher taxes, and high unemployment. If you're concerned about these things, then join us at the Roost Chris Steakhouse in Virginia Beach on Thursday, February the 6th, or at the Riverstone Chop House in Suffolk on Tuesday, February the 11th. Call 1-877-313-4080. You will learn things about your 401ks, TSPs, IRAs that most people don't know. Learn how to maximize your income while working and how to create a lifetime of retirement income. To join us at the Roost Chris Steakhouse on Thursday, February the 6th, or at the Riverstone Chop House in Suffolk on Tuesday, February the 11th at 6:30 p.m., call 1-877-313-4080 or online at cashflowmoneywave.com.
This is a paid commercial program that is sponsored by National K-9 Academy. WNIS Radio and Sinclair Communications do not endorse or warranty any statements or claims that are made, or products or services that are offered by this sponsor.
Welcome back to National K-9 Academy Radio. This segment is brought to you by Maverick Detection Services, the nation's largest 100% independent K-9 bedbug detection team with 17 certified K-9 detection teams. We also do commercial and residential geese control for nuisance flocks of geese. If you think you have a bedbug problem or nuisance geese issues, you can call us at 855-597-7827. We have 6 trained geese control K-9 teams, and you'll see us out there in the Weimer War Wagon all logoed up with our trusty K-9s. Again, 855-597-7827, or you can find us on the web at www.todetectandtoserve.com. We have joining us on the line now Xavier Santiago. How you doing, Xavier?
Good, Dan. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for joining us. I have my co-host Dallas and Janet in the studio with us, and we're very excited to have you on. Xavier, a lot of people don't know, he's very modest, but he is very much a celebrity. He had a show on the Animal Planet a few years ago called Groomer Has It, which was just mesmerizing. I'm not even a groomer, and I used to catch myself watching that show all the time. So he was also one of our reviewers for One Unforgettable Journey. So I'm very, I feel very fortunate and honored that you would join us on our show, and especially this particular show about buying versus adopting. It's such an important topic that we run into here every week. And I wanted you to come on to talk about all the effort, the trouble, and the painstaking work that goes into being a responsible breeder. And I know how passionate you are, especially about your mouths, and I wanted you to share that with our listeners. When somebody contacts you, or when you have a litter of puppies, what are some of the things that you do, even before that, actually, selecting a suitable pair? When you're thinking about having a litter, what are some of the things that you go to find just that right pair to mate if you're interested in having a litter?
Wow. Well, first, Dan, thanks for having me on. And just as a side note, flattery will get you nowhere.
Was it that obvious?
Really,
Was it that obvious?
No. I think, that's a really loaded question. My family and I have been involved in dogs for 2 generations, and other animal husbandry as well, horses, what have you. And we also make it a point to adopt as well as breed, because we believe in walking the walk, especially if you talk the talk. So that being said, I think both breeding and adopting, with our strays and our rescues are very important. When a good, responsible breeder sets the task and trying to, improve upon the next generation, and it's not just about phenotype, it's not just about appearance. Coming from Alaskan Malamutes and other working breeds, we tend to focus on function, and part of what we're looking for beyond that is the health and longevity of the animal as well. So the first thing when we set the task, are literally combing through copious amounts of data, and that data is pedigrees. Really, and the art of reading pedigrees is being lost to this next generation, and a lot of the really good breeders, they will sit there and comb over pedigrees for hours on end. And they're not just planning on the next generation, they're planning for subsequent generations, provided what their task is. If they're trying to improve on the fronts or the rears, or they're trying to increase better temperaments, and they found something that they really liked and it worked well within the pedigree, and to continue on that. So the large part is when they have the dam and the sire, they'll look several generation backs, and even further, to determine how that's going to align. Whether you're doing an outcross, a line breeding, it doesn't matter. They're really looking to improve on each generation. In some cases, you're looking at when the breeder's examining all the pedigrees and they go to breed, they may not be looking to get their best in show from that next litter, but it's the subsequent litter and what that get will then produce. So it's a very involved process, and a very responsible breeder, they're going to be analyzing everything. And health is first and foremost that what I look at, and what many other people I see on the show circuits, whether it's in the United Kingdom or the U.S., we really care about the health of the animals.
Well, what's interesting is the one thing that you haven't mentioned yet, and this is what I think a lot of people should know and understand, that breeding isn't just about pretty dogs. You've talked about the temperament, the function, the health, the gaiting, and their appearance. You haven't even mentioned yet. And I think so many people make that decision on when they get a puppy. It's just appearance. What do they look like? And you guys, right, responsible breeders, put so much more effort into it than just that. It's a nice looking puppy or dog, we should breed them.
Yeah, I tend to steer away from, again, the phenotype, the appearance. How does it look? Does it look fluffy? Oh, my kid would love that. Well, it's a puppy now. Wait till it's about 90 to 100 pounds. Let's see what you think then. With the appearance, a lot of people, when they're first looking at a breed of dog, it's so funny when they say, "Oh, I think that would be a great dog." Why? The breeder, you're going to get a questionnaire. Why do you want a Siberian Husky? Why do you want a Collie? Why do you want a Weimaraner? And they say, "Oh, well, it looks pretty." As a breeder, we have an alarm bell that goes off in our head, because you're not buying it because it looks pretty. We're looking at a whole host of issues with your family. Do you have kids? Do you have other animals? And if those animals, what are they? I don't want one of my Malamutes chasing around a chinchilla. It's not going to bode well. Or the same thing. You look at pairing up with the appearance, people look and they say, "Oh, that'd be great as a handbag dog." I said, "Well, that's not what that's for." So I think with our first priority is health, form and function, and then it of course has to look like the type and what the breed standard dictates, and that's what we as breeders within any breed try to stick to, and that standard is dictated and agreed upon by the parent club. So whatever you have, whether it's your Alaska Malamute Club of America, your Border Collie Club of America, it doesn't matter. They all agree on that type. And
you know what's interesting too, when you mention that, and it's one of the things that I tell people is you pick, what are there, 188 registered breeds, the AKC or somewhere around there. Any one of those groups, any one of those clubs of America, you can go to their homepage, and it will clearly tell you, to be a member of good standing, you can never sell puppies or progeny thereof to a broker or a pet store. And I think that's important for people to know.
That'll get you kicked out of the club quicker than anything else.
Right. So you will not find breeders like Xavier would never put a puppy in a pet store ever.
Yeah. We definitely abhor that to no end. Many of us, many great breeders like to keep in touch with their puppy buyers. Now, of course, we'd love to be friends with them on Facebook and have their own little personal websites and Instagram. We also have to be pragmatic. Not everyone can do that. But I'm very proud that I have several puppy buyers of mine who are on Facebook. I get to see regular photos. I get phone calls if they have questions. And responsible, I mean, that's what it's about. It's our code of ethics. And just about every club that I'm aware of in the U.S. and even abroad here in the U.K., they all necessitate that you have to stick to that code of ethics. Right. And a responsible breeder will. You go buy a puppy at a pet store, you have no recourse. You have, if something goes wrong, if there's a health issue, if the dog has a bad temperament, what are you going to do? Go back to the pet store?
Right. Now, say you had a litter on the ground, and I was a prospective buyer. What would I have to go through if I was going to get one of your puppies? What would you do?
Well, for me, before we'd even meet face to face, I would have several phone call conversations, and I'd have you fill out a puppy questionnaire. And a lot of the key points we talked about earlier is getting to know who you are, your family dynamic. Do you live in a wooded area? Do you live in a suburb area with a fencing? Or do you live in an apartment? Do you have kids? How many kids? Are you married, or are you just living with your partner? That relationship status, right down to what kind of job do you hold. Those are all important issues, because when you buy a puppy, you're devoting a good 6 months of your life to really training and teaching that puppy, so you can have a long-standing relationship that is functional. After you fill out a questionnaire, and we'd have multiple phone conversations, once the litter is on the ground, I'd get to meet you face-to-face. That meeting face-to-face is getting to know your personality, because we can all put things on email and on paper, and we can have the phone call that's, in some ways for show, but really to see how you interact with not only me, but also meeting my dogs. And once we start to see how your personality type is, and that's if you've met all the other criteria, and I think you're a right fit for the breed, then we would start looking at the puppies. So most people think that when they walk in that they're going to be able to pick whatever puppy they want out of the litter. We're looking for a fit out of those that are pet quality. Unless you're going to have a show quality dog, we're looking for those that are going to work best with your family dynamic and your situation.
So do you choose a puppy for them?
A large percentage of time, the breeder will recommend, and they have the absolute right to say, listen, this is going to be the best puppy for you, given its personality type. You got to keep in mind, at that point, when you're picking up a puppy, it's been anywhere from 8, 9, 10 weeks. They've seen what their personalities are in the pack.
And
if you're a very laid back, a very laid back personality.
Do you do like Volhard personality test on your puppies or anything like that?
Well, in the Malamute world, we all check the personality type. Right. You can tell pretty quickly who's the alpha in the group. who's the one that's trying to wrestle more than the others, who are the ones that are very relaxed, they'll engage, but then they just chill, and then those that really want to engage with humans. And you really would like, in our breed, you'd like a sociable animal, and most of them are, but you're looking at how it interacts with each of the litter mates, with the mother, others that may be on the premises, and with humans.
And you're trying to set them up for success, for the puppy and for the family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So now, so say you've approved somebody, you've picked out a puppy. What happens next?
Well, typically we'd request for a deposit, and that way we know that you're going to come and collect the puppy, and then you'd pay in full when you collect. Typically, most breeders will have the first round of shots done. You'll be provided, what I provide my puppy buyers with are the pedigrees, a very informative 50-page manual on the breed, which I typically will send to them as a PDF or a Xerox copy so that they are fully up to snuff and they understand what they're getting into. And, they will, usually most people who are picking up the puppy have already been to the premises once, if not twice, already. So the puppy is becoming more familiar at that point. And then when they are allowed to go home, they'll go for a ride, and they usually go home with a nice collar and lead and all of their paperwork, their health clearances, immunizations. Nice. And it's very sad to see them go, but we're always very pleased when we get the weekly updates, and those turn into monthly updates.
Right. Now, what age do you typically let the puppies go to their new home?
I typically prefer anywhere between 8 and 10 weeks. The last litter we placed, one of them, we had two brothers go to the same family, and one went at about 12 weeks, and then the other one came about 2 or 3 weeks later, just because they were in the process of moving. And we didn't want to, it was just going to be too much to handle.
Right.
But they did just fine, and those two boys are doing extremely well, very sociable little critters, and they're with a very large family. I think they have 5 kids, and the kids all adore those two.
That's great.
So typically that's usually the time. I've seen other breeders who have held on to the dogs longer because they're trying to find the right fit. For you will have people come, and the unfortunate thing is a lot of people don't understand is that many people say, "Oh, we'll commit," and then they don't show. And that's why it's important that if you're really serious about buying a puppy from a breeder, that you put down your deposit and you're ready to commit, because it's not just, oh, it'll be fun for a couple of years. It's a life choice. You're deciding to have that make your home or forever home. And so if we don't find the right fit, we will say no. So, and it's not that we don't think any less of that person who's buying the puppy. It's because we really care about the longevity of that relationship, and that they will, 10, 12, however many years later, when they're looking for their next dog, they come back to us because they know we put that much thought and care. And that's what a lot of longtime breeders have had, is that type of relationship they build, where they know the home, and they know their puppies are going to be in a very happy home. So.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you joining us, Xavier, and all that information.
I know it's a brain dump, isn't it?
It is. It's a lot of information, but we need to get that out there so people understand. This is what responsible breeders do. This is what you should see when you go to buy a dog. This is a huge decision you're going to make for 10, 15, 16 years. So you want to make the right decision for both you and your puppy or your dog if you're getting an older dog. But I wanted people to know how much trouble and effort goes into responsible breeding. And the buzz phrase I hear from every responsible breeder is the reason they breed is to improve the breed. That's the first thing out of their mouth, to improve the breed. It's not to make money. It's not because the puppy's cute or I want one out of this dog. It's always to improve the breed. And I know that's what you're all about. And I'd forgotten that your dad also was involved with Malamute, so this has been carrying on for quite some time with your family, and that's a very unique and admirable thing that you have going there, and I really appreciate your expertise, and I would love to have you come back on the show.
Oh, it would be my absolute pleasure, and I think really do appreciate you bringing up a lot of the points. So we are very much stewards of the breed, and we do it because we love what we do. And if we wanted to make money, we'd go into horses. So, I mean, I've met very few breeders who've made a lot of money doing this. We do it because we do love the animals, and we care to see them improved.
Amen.
So,
well, thank you so much, Xavier.
I really appreciate being a part of the show, and I look forward to being back.
We will definitely have you back on. Xavier Santiago, thank you so much. We will be back. Thank you. We will be back in just a few minutes with Krisitine Lacoste from PetsAdvisor.com. You're listening to National K-9 Academy Radio on AM 790 WNIS.
Want to get your message out to thousands at one time? Advertise on a medium that reaches 96% of all consumers weekly, is cost-effective and targeted. Yes, I'm talking about local radio. And to reach that well-informed, savvy consumer, nobody does it better than News Talk AM 790 WNIS, radio that commands attention. To find out more, call me, Julie Zobel, General Sales Manager, at 222-2910, and find out just how radio gets results.
National K-9 Academy uses all of its 26,000 square foot fenced grass play area, 2 saltwater pools, and professional trainers to ensure all dogs get plenty of exercise, socialization, and obedience training each day. Every dog is individually trained by a professional trainer. They're the only training facility in the region offering a lifetime money-back guarantee. Call 289-2700. National K-9 Academy, where dogs play, stay, and train like a champion. Visit nationalk9academy.com.
Welcome back to National K-9 Academy Radio. I'm your host, Dan Stallings, and I'm joined with my co-host, Dallas, and Sinclair Station's Janice Aguiar.
Hello.
And we have on the line now Krisitine Lacoste from PetsAdvisor.com. How are you, Krisitine?
Doing good. How are you guys today?
Everybody's doing great. Enjoying the warmer weather now that we're digging out from the snow. As you heard earlier in the show, we've had a couple of great guests on, Theresa Strader from National Mill Dog Rescue, and then just most recently our great friend Xavier Santiago talking about what responsible breeders do. And I know you've written several articles on red flags when buying a dog or specifically a puppy, and I wanted you to share some of those items with us so that people can be aware of what they should and should not look for when they're out there looking to add a furry four-legged member to their family.
You know, this is a topic that I've thought about, written about, researched about for the past at least 3 years. And I think that one of the first things that comes to mind for me is that I know what a puppy mill is. You know what a puppy mill is. The problem is when people find out what they are, sometimes they think that they found out something that everyone else knows. And most of the cases that I found and people that I talked to, so many people still do not know what a puppy mill is. So when they say that awareness is the key to stopping these, it really is true, because don't assume everyone knows what it is. And a puppy mill is sometimes not like the auctions that Theresa went to.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's not a big operation. Sometimes it's a backyard breeder who always has puppies for sale, whose female dog is constantly in heat, constantly having puppies, always to the vet for C-sections. You have to look for the signs to identify one, and then you have to share with the people that you know to make sure that they know what they are. It's not always a puppy from a store. Sometimes there's puppy mills that aren't going to show up in your local, mom and pop PetSmart type operation.
Right.
So don't assume that everyone else knows about what puppy mills are. Talk about it. Ask people, where'd you get that dog? Don't go to the store. Don't buy it off the internet. I think it was last year, I remember looking at a website. They were selling puppies, and it was a beautiful website. They had pictures of puppies running in this, big green fields. It looked like a perfect home, a perfect setting. They ended up getting shut down because they were operating a puppy mill. So don't ever trust what you see on the internet, ever. You need to see the puppies. You need to see them interacting with the mother, hopefully with the father as well. That interaction shows that they've been socialized, they've been allowed to be together. Puppy mill operations, often as soon as the mother has puppies, they're going to get taken away from her. And they're going to get put in a cage and just wait to be sold, snap a few cute pictures, and that's it.
Well, one of the things, Xavier was being very modest, and he didn't really talk about, and I haven't mentioned it yet, is why are you breeding these dogs? What have they done to warrant,
They breed for money. Puppy mills only breed for money.
Right.
And that's their only concern. Now, some of them may even take their animals to the vet. Very few and far between, obviously. When you're looking at a true puppy mill operation, they don't care about health. They just care about how cute those puppies look. Can I get a great picture?
Right.
When they look the most adorable, and then get them sold. That's all they care about. Now, see, you have a Weimaraner rescue. You know the breed probably better than anyone else I know. How much of those qualities are you going to look for in a puppy? And how much are you going to train them, take them to the vet? How much care are you going to take to make sure they're representative of that breed? So you have a purpose, and you don't breed every time one of your dogs goes into heat.
Right. I think any breeder, like Xavier said, should be a steward of the breed. And, as Dallas knows, I have several dogs that have done well in performance events. One set a world record, but I would never breed that dog because he does not conform to the breed standard. I would not be promoting the betterment or the wellness of the breed by doing so. So I don't breed those dogs. Even though they have some
100 years, you don't want that dog's offspring to look nothing like a Weimaraner. You want to preserve the breed and make sure that in the future someone's going to be able to enjoy that breed for the qualities it has.
Right. The dogs that I breed, they have done something, whether in the field or in the show ring, to warrant those genes being passed on. And I spent 2 years looking for my foundation female. I spent 2 years looking for her on a suitable mate for my male stone. And
that's Emmy, right?
Yeah, that's Emmy. And I got her from some of the most reputable breeders in the country, wine breeders in the country. And I spent a long time, and they checked me out every which way from Sunday, got references from the handlers I was using, from the other breeders, from the other show people. And before they let me have her, and they still keep close tabs on her. And, that's what good breeders do.
Exactly. You're trying to preserve the breed. Like I said before, in 100 years, you want the dog to still represent a true Weimaraner. And if people keep breeding and buying through puppy mills and the responsible breeders fall into the background, you're going to end up with something that looks somewhat what a Weimaraner used to look like. Doesn't have the temperament, doesn't have the ability. So breeding's important. You have to look at the puppy mills. My biggest thing is don't trust anything on the internet. You have to see the facility. See that if it's someone that sells puppies out of their house, you got to go to their house. And if they don't let you come there, if they can't produce the parents, if they can't show the puppies with the mother, you need to leave.
And they
don't get a puppy from them.
They should be members of the parent club in good standing.
Yes.
That's one of the things. And you can always find reputable breeders on the home pages for the Clubs of America for that particular breed.
But you still always have to do your homework because sometimes they can get added to that list but then turn into a puppy mill. So don't ever give up the opportunity to visit the puppies and the mother, to see the facility, ask about health clearances. All that stuff's important. Don't ever get the cuteness of the puppy. That's one of the things that comes up constantly. As soon as people see the puppy, they fall in love and they forget all the rest. And I've actually seen reports of people that said it was so cute. We knew we were supposed to ask, but we just wanted the puppy.
Right.
We got it, and 6 weeks later, it was dead.
Christine, are your articles on Puppy Mill still on PetsAdvisor.com?
They're all in PetsAdvisor. If you go to PetsAdvisor.com and just type in Puppy Mill, you'll come up with a list of articles about puppy mills. Our red flags is one of the most important ones that we see shared the most because it covers everything from website to site inspections to actually doing the transaction.
Awesome. We'll post a link to that on our Facebook page. Thank you so much, Christine. We look forward to having you back on for the PetsAdvisor.com Dog News of the Week next week.
Yeah, give me 10 seconds. I need to mention Magic and Spirit. Those are 2 dogs where they were taken out of the shelter, rehabilitated. Spirit got a home. Magic lost an eye, and he's still, after 2 years, waiting for someone to adopt him. And we also have Gwen and Rowdy. They're 2 dogs in a Texas shelter. They've been in there for 7 years. So if anyone's interested in adopting these dogs, just go to Pets Advisor and send us an email.
All right. We'll have them do it. Thank you so much, Christine. You've been listening to National K-9 Academy Radio on WNIS 790 AM.
WNIS Radio and Sinclair Communications do not endorse or warranty any statements or claims that are made or products or services that are offered by this sponsor.
It's AM 790 WNIS Norfolk. It's 11 o'clock.
Victims. Fox News Radio's Tanya J. Powers live with the latest on the investigation into the Saturday morning shooting.
The shooter identified today as